Nodcry is on the horizon. It is literally less than a week away. Minsleaf uploaded what people have told me is an amazing video about everything we know about Nodcry, the key to fixing Genshin's biggest problem, ? And there's quite a lot of chapters here, so let's take a look at Minsleaf's video. Probably some lore as well.
The stream just dropped, but you haven't played Genshin in a while, meaning you're probably wondering, what the heck is Nodcry? It's not one of the 7 nations. It's not even in the big roadmap trailer Genshin released 5 years ago.
It's crazy, dude.
Appeared out of nowhere. Nodcry was indeed created after the fact, but it might just be the most important region we've seen so far.
I do think it will be. I think lore-wise, Nodcry is going to be by far the most important region so far. Not only for the new lore it's going to bring to the table, but for the wrapping up of loose ends that have been left loose for years.
It's actually here to solve a massive problem, one that people have been complaining about for a while.
Yep.
Why are characters like Alice and Varka, names we've been teased with for years, suddenly showing up here of all places? Why does Nodcry sit right before Snezhnaya, the nation literally gearing up for war against Celestia? And if this place didn't exist in the original plan, what lore was so important enough that Hoyoverse had to create an entirely new region just to explain it?
So much of it, dude. Because here's the thing, right? We still have so many parts of Genshin that are left uncovered and left unexplained, like the Dorman Port and Blackcliff Forge, and then countless others, the door under Sumeru. And it's like, sure, you could argue that in Snezhnaya patch, we'll get all of those during the patches. But what are the chances of that, right? We just got Mayor Javari and just got confirmation that during Nodcry, Mayor Javari is going to evolve more, and we're going to get more Mayor Javari stuff. There's far too much left uncovered from the get-go already. It just can't be wrapped up before they want to end Genshin. That is the reason Nodcry exists.
Nodcry isn't filler, and it's actually the best time to hop right back into Genshin. It is the key to understanding everything Genshin's been hiding from us. From the Moon Sisters to the Abyss.
How lore connected is Spiral Abyss? The actual physical location of the Spiral Abyss probably vary because it has the moon inside, and also it is the Spiral Abyss. So there's probably a lot of lore connections to the Spiral Abyss, actually.
To the Fatui's real plan. This is where all those lore threads finally come together.
Yep.
So, what is Nodcry? What is its lore, its factions, its secrets? And why might this frozen wasteland that apparently wasn't even supposed to exist hold the answers to Genshin's biggest mysteries? Nodcry isn't like any of the regions we've gotten before.
Can we just say it looks fucking beautiful, by the way, first and foremost, and the OST is absolutely phenomenal as expected from Hoyo.
This isn't Chapter 6 or version 6.0.
This is a good point, bro. Do y'all actually think when they release Snezhnaya, it's going to be 6.0, or do you think it's going to be 7.0? There's no way they call it 6.0, right?
In fact, the whole story arc has its own name, Song of the Welkin Moon.
Yep,
and
Luna
instead of the
1.
usual 5.0, 5.1, 5.2 format, these patches are called Luna 1, 2, 3, and so on. Which basically means Snezhnaya is still reserved for the real 6.0, and the roadmap we saw 5 years ago in the Travails trailer should still hold up. But here's why Nodcry matters. The devs finally admitted something the community has been frustrated about for years. Genshin's most important lore hasn't been front and center.
It's always been scattered around in books and mysteries and world quests, and it's very rarely been prominent in the actual Archon quests.
There's always been this massive disconnect between the game's lore and the wider community. The lore's been buried in artifact descriptions.
Bro, who said Farida is Foslo's daughter?
Hidden in world quests or locked away in time-limited events. And unless you've gone really deep into the lore, you probably never even heard about the 3 Moon Sisters.
True.
Despite the fact that they're one of the most important parts of Teyvat's ancient history, and a huge focus of what the later patches are going to explore.
Indeed.
Nodcry is here to change that. It's the lore glue that ties all these scattered threads together.
So
the
cool,
place
dude.
where the stars align, and we finally start getting answers to theories we've been chasing for years. The whole region draws heavily from Baltic, Nordic, and Slavic influences. Even the map is shaped after the Baltic Sea area and
Yo, I didn't even... Oh my god, it literally is. I didn't even know that. That's really cool.
Real life. Here are some of the locations we'll get to explore. Paha Isle is where the Fatui have set up their Kuvaki experimental design.
How can you know laws going to change when the version is not out yet? What does that mean? What? How can you know laws going to change? Because they've said it is and it's a story patch wrapping up loose ends. So obviously it's going to happen. You don't need the patch to be out to know what's going to come in a patch at a very standard level, right? Every main 0.0 patch, the lore is going to advance. That's just a given.
Bureau, running strange mechanical projects that tie into the Pale Star Edict and Colombina. PC Isle belongs to the Frostmoon Scions, an isolated group who worship the goddess of the new moon, but may be forced to defend themselves against the Fatui's interference.
Oh, definitely
Naja Town is Nodcry's trading hub, full of travelers and adventurers. The region was once little more than a wasteland, but its merchants rebuilt from the ruins, and out of that effort, Naja Town was born. Just outside is the Lempo Isles, home to the Clink-Clank Craftshop, which also happens to be where the Lightkeepers once battled the Wild Hunt. Then there's Blue Ember Lake, a place we
This place looks beautiful, dude. Jesus.
know very little about so far. You can tell Nodcry is going to be a lore-heavy region when its trailer opens with one of the biggest reveals we've ever gotten. It turns out this is the place where the Traveler and their siblings' spaceship first landed in Teyvat.
Such an interesting point. You know, out of all of the things with Genshin lore, this is kind of the thing that's pissed me off the most. Not even pissed me off, just made me feel like a weird way about it. Because, like, most things have a good explanation as to... Bro, why is the Traveler never mentioned that they got a fucking spaceship key in the back pocket? It's the one thing that I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? What the fuck? It just doesn't fucking make sense to me, so maybe this will wrap that up as well.
Yes, Traveler and their sibling are aliens. For years, everyone assumed their crash site was Conria, but no, it was here, in Nodcry. All the Traveler remembers is their sibling waking them up and the two of them leaving the ship behind. Now, before we dive into each faction and all the confirmed characters, I need to rant for a second. Because Hoyo did something I don't think enough people are talking about. They stopped making the collected miscellany videos. You know, those beautiful narrations where Dainsleif himself, the man...
Wait, oh my god, when did they stop this?
And the myth, the legend, my husband would introduce new characters and give us lore alongside their movesets. Gone.
Maybe he's dead, Min. Maybe that's why.
They replaced them with short in-game trial clips starting with Inefa in version 5.8. So if Dainsleif won't give us the lore anymore, I will. That's right, I'm stepping up as a dutiful wife to pick up where he left off. Because this is Nodcry, and this is where everything in Genshin...
Oh yeah, I guess they also don't have a Dane VA right now, so...
Sorry, and apparently my relationships start to change. After all, I am your leafy lorekeeper Minsliff, so as someone who's kept up with Genshin's lore for 5 years, I got you. So now, I need you to listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
What I'm about to tell you might be the most important piece of Genshin lore you'll ever need to know.
Okay.
In this live stream, the devs even joked about how important this piece of lore is to Nodcry.
Bro, you're teasing us more than they were with fucking the constellation shit.
Seriously, if you've ever wondered why Paimon is so mysterious or why so many strange things in Teyvat feel so connected, this is the most important information you need to know. From Nodcry and onward, everything that'll happen will keep coming back to this important lore bit. Long before humans even existed, Teyvat was a world ruled by dragons. At the top were the 7 dragon sovereigns, the original rulers of the 7 elements. And above them all was the dragon king Nibelung. Nibelung was the original ruler of the planet. And he also created the 3 moon sisters, goddesses who became Teyvat's 3 moons. The names of the 3 moons were Arya, Sonnet, and Canon, also called the Eternal Moon, the Iridescent Moon, and the Frost Moon, but we don't know exactly which sister held which title. But together, they governed the skies. Then came the invasion from beyond. An alien god known as the Heavenly Principles descended on Teyvat. During this first war, the Heavenly Principles defeated the dragons, claimed the world, and created humans. The 3 Moon Sisters were also placed under the control of the Heavenly Principles, an act the dragons saw as the moons betraying them.
The fact that we're finally gonna get some closure on this whole fucking lore situation with the Moon Sisters is crazy to me, dude, when it's been so long since they were first mentioned.
In that moment, the old world order was gone. Dragons were cast aside and the era of humanity began. But Nibelung wasn't finished. Refusing to accept defeat, he left Teyvat and returned with forbidden knowledge from the Abyss.
Yeah.
With this power, he launched a second war against the Heavenly Principles.
So this is all stuff that I'm very much aware of. I'm assuming we're going to get into more intricate details after this section, which is coming to a close.
What Neuvillette later calls the Great War of Vengeance. Murals first showed Nibelung as a radiant white dragon, but the Abyss twisted him into something darker. The Great War of Vengeance tore the world apart. Entire civilizations fell, and even though he believed the Abyss would give him victory, it only brought ruin and the near extinction of dragonkind. When the war finally ended, 2 of the 3 moons were destroyed. The Eternal Moon and the Iridescent Moon shattered,
leaving only the Frostmoon, baby.
while only the corpse of the Frost Moon still hangs in the night sky. So remember this, there were 2 great wars in Teyvat's ancient past.
I would love to see, like, because since it's kind of theorized that Colombina is going to be the new moon, I would love to see the Frost Moon fall, and just to see what it'd be like, what would happen when there's no moons in the sky. That would be so fucking cool, dude.
First, when the Heavenly Principles descended and conquered the dragons. The second, when Nibelung returned with abyssal power to seek vengeance and lost everything.
Yep.
2 of the 3 moons were also destroyed during the Second War. The dragons weren't mourning when the Moon Sisters fell. In fact, they were glad the Moon Sisters were destroyed. But that was only the beginning. Because while the fall of the Moon Sisters shaped the ancient world, what happened next would shape Nodcry itself. The legends give way to history, and it all starts with this story. Long ago, 2 children dreamed of creating a paradise. One grew up to be remembered as the Torch Forger, a hero. The other became a bandit named Reed Miller.
Oh
Their
my
story
god.
would shape the history of Nodcry.
How many lore skippers we got in chat? It's not even lore skippers. How many people with memories that don't go all the way back to 1.0 in chat? Do you all know who Reed Miller is, guys? Who? De Miller? And anyone remember? Me. Yeah. Me. I remember me. I mean, me, but I wasn't playing then. Me either. Yeah, man, the leader of the treasure hoarders. I joined in 3.6. I mean, I joined in 2 point something.
At the time, Snezhnaya wasn't ruled by the Tsaritsa. It was ruled by the Beletsar, the first cryo-archon, also called the Tsar of all Fae. He reigned with the help of the Knyazes, powerful nobles, and was served by the Snowland Fae in his royal court. But then came a mad monk. Obsessed with breaking through the false sky, the
now this is something I don't recall.
mad monk convinced the Beletsar to chase the lost power of the 3 Moon Sisters. When the cataclysm struck and Conria fell, the monk was consumed by the abyss. And the Beletsar vanished, likely perishing in the chaos. In the middle of that destruction, the Torch Forger rose up. With the help of a priestess from the Frostmoon Scions, channeling the light of the Frostmoon, he unleashed a beam of light that pushed back the abyss. Survivors rallied to him, and together they built a lighthouse,
The
a symbol of hope
Lightkeepers!
and a weapon against the darkness. After the Beletsar was
Oh, that's cool. That's a good bit of information there.
gone, the Tsaritsa ascended as the Cryo-Archon. To protect his people's future, the Torch Forger struck a deal with her. Nodcry would defend Snezhnaya's southern borders from the abyss, and in return, their lands would remain free.
Hell yeah,
that
man.
childhood dream of a paradise had finally come true, and Nodcry was born, an autonomous region located in the southernmost part of Snezhnaya.
So it gained autonomy after the Torch Forger struck a deal with the Tsaritsa. This is interesting because, again, this is information that kind of left my mind. I vaguely remember the striking of a deal, but I don't remember the name Torch Forger. So this is cool.
Edge.
Putting like a lot of jigsaw pieces in my mind that have kind of crumbled away together again.
Of Teyvat. From that day forward, the Lightkeepers of Nodcry upheld their oath. They believed that as long as the lighthouse stayed lit and they fulfilled their duties, they would live in freedom. But freedom always comes at a cost.
Oh, that was in artifacts?
One night,
and that's why, gamers, listen, all that lore was in artifacts, not in the main game. It'd be so cool to have the important shit like that, like how it was created in the main game. Like, I say the main game, I mean the main story.
The wild
obviously.
hunt thundered across the land, an army of abyssal wraiths promising death and ruin. The Fatui showed up, claiming they were there to help. But Pietro revealed the truth. If the Lightkeepers fell, Nodcry would be Snezhnaya's again. The Fatui turned their back on Nodcry, and the Lightkeepers were left to die. Not long after, Dottore moved in to build his stronghold.
This bit, dude, I cannot wait until he shows up in the story. Anytime Dottore shows up in the main story, you know it's going to be a good patch.
So, yeah,
you know
it's safe to say the relationship between the Lightkeepers and the Fatui is probably not great at all. Nodcry was born from a dream of light, but it has been haunted by betrayal ever since. Or maybe it's haunted by something else. The soul of Asar, waiting for the chance to return to his people? So what's Nodcry like today? Nodcry is a lawless land. There's no Archon, no central government, just powerful factions constantly fighting for control.
Do we think since it's a lawless land with no Archon, there's no primary figure, right? If Colombina ends up becoming the primary figure by the end, and even if it is as a Moon Maiden or Moon Sister, do y'all think this could overall also be the Fatui's plan? Not only rival Celestia, but also rival the Archons, right? Get one. So like the Celestia have Celestia, and then the Archons is a lower position. Could it be the Fatui's plan to have a Moon, and then fucking 8 other people as like, quote-unquote Archons? SARS or something? In different places. Could be quite interesting. Colombina's left the Fatui for now, for sure. I don't think that's going to be a permanent departure from the Fatui.
The biggest rivalry is between the Lightkeepers and the Wild Hunt.
And it also makes sense with the chess game then, right? You've got Celestia, which is player 1. You've got the Moon, which is player 2. And then all the pieces on the board, which is the Archons and the Harbingers. Think about it.
2 sides locked in an endless war. Nodcry also sits right on the edge of Teyvat, which made it the first place hit by the Cataclysm.
Yep.
That's why the abyssal forces here are unlike anything we've seen before. Everyone in Nodcry is after the primordial power of the moon, known as Kuvaki. It's one of the oldest, most primordial forms of elemental energy.
This might sound crazy. I hope the Fatui get it. I hope they get the moon. I hope they get the power. I want to see the Fatui progress more, bro. I love this storyline with the Harbingers, man. I love it. I think it's great. I just think we need more of it.
And it also serves as the region's main power source. This power is older and stronger than the 7 elements, and every faction here has a stake in it. Some want to harness it, others want to destroy it. And then there's the moon wheels. They look like visions, but they're not. Long ago, the heavenly...
If Colombina rejoins the Fatui, she'll likely be a villain, and we don't get villains as playable characters. Brother, we have 2 current Fatui Harbinger members as playable characters. I don't really think that means shit.
Principals and the Moon Sisters created them for their human followers. These moon wheels let mortals connect with the goddesses through ritual, and like visions, they're formed from the stuff of the soul. Whoever has a moon wheel can command the power of Kuvaki.
Yo.
So far, Aino is the only character with a vision, while the rest have moon wheels. So, in Nodcry, you've got no Archon, no ruler, rival factions at war, abyssal armies sweeping the land, and divine power up for grabs. Which raises the...
But they're not like entirely villain, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, if they want to make her playable, they're not going to make her entirely a villain either, right? They're just going to do the same shit that they did for Tartaglia and Alikino and make them morally questionable, but on the Traveler's overall side, probably.
Abyssal armies sweeping the land, and divine power up for grabs.
It's a typical pattern with Hoyo now with Genshin, to be fair. I just kind of expect it.
Which raises the real question. If no one rules Nodcry now, who will claim it next?
Colombina!
With so much chaos in a land with no ruler, it falls to the factions to decide Nodcry's future. At the center of the struggle are 11 factions you need to know about. Voynich Guild, Clink-Clank Craftshop, Wild Hunt, Lightkeepers, Frostmoon Scions, Treasure Hoarders, Snowland Fae, Fatui, Adventurers Guild, Knights of Favonius, and the Hexenzirkel.
Yeah,
let's start with one of the...
Bro, Nefa's in-game model looks so fucking sick. Guys, I thought she looked pretty fucking cool in 2D as well. I ain't gonna cap. Everybody saying she looked like absolute dog shit was kind of crazy to me. I still thought she looked cool. I thought she looked fine. I thought people were overreacting like a fucking crazy people on the internet. But the 3D model looks better than the 2D, which is kind of crazy.
Most powerful forces in Nodcry today. The Voynich Guild. On the surface, they're just a commerce guild. But in a land with no Archon, no government, and no official Fatui control, their influence runs deep. Liben even calls them the strongest force in the region. That raises some questions. What kind of things have they collected? Strange relics, cursed artifacts, forgotten tech? Maybe even some of the biggest lore bombs in the game, just collecting dust in their vaults? From the outside,
I mean, Dory's there, bro, so probably.
They seem generous. Liben said they recovered his stolen goods and even paid him back. Sounds nice, but what if they staged the whole thing? In a lawless land like Nodcry, power isn't just strength. It's reputation. And the Voynich Guild might be playing both sides to keep theirs flawless. At the top of their hierarchy is the Curatorium of Secrets, led by a woman named Nefer. According to Anefa, Nefer knows the past.
Oh god, I've just fucking realized that. Bro, why do we have Anefa and Nefer? Where's Outefa?
The present, and maybe even the future. Her mind's been compared to a living database, and she's so feared that even outlaws fall in line under her. Nefer's partner is Yehoda, a legendary bounty hunter with a flawless record and a bionic arm. Apparently, Yehoda mistook a Clink-Clank for a weapon and nearly attacked Anefa, but after tasting it, she warmed up. Since then, she's been a frequent guest, often bringing components to Aino as gifts. The Curatorium of Secrets strictly stays neutral and refuses to take sides with any faction in Nodcry. For the traveler who has no choice but to get involved in Nodcry's conflicts, that makes the Curatorium an unpredictable obstacle.
I mean, we do have a choice. We could just leave and let them handle it themselves and then fuck off to Snezhnaya and do that.
They might have the answers we need, but unless we play by their rules, they might withhold everything. The name Voynich itself may reference the Voynich manuscript, a real-world mysterious book filled with unidentifiable plants and strange symbols no one's ever decoded.
Wouldn't it be just hilarious if this was just like some kid just fucking making shit up? Wait, this is a real book? Holy fuck. Look at the little crescent moons in here too.
If Hoyoverse is drawing influence from that, the guild could be aware of aliens, Descenders, Outlanders, or knowledge beyond Tevat. The manuscript was named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer tied to the anti-Tsarist movement. That could hint at the Voynich Guild having anti-Tsaritsa leanings in game 2. And here's something really interesting. Wilfrid ran one of the biggest rare book businesses in the world. In Genshin, books often hide forbidden history in plain sight.
Or forbidden knowledge, if you know what I mean.
Disguised as fairy tales. So, if anyone's hoarding ancient texts or even rewriting history, it's probably the Voynich Guild, which makes the Curatorium of...
It also kind of makes sense if her mind is like a living database, and also the only time we've ever seen rewritten history before was with the Ermin Soul, which is quite literally a massive database. It's quite interesting, huh?
Secret.
And it's also in Sumeru, and who has a lot of Sumerian inspiration.
That sound a lot less like your typical traders, and a lot more like gatekeepers of the truth of this world. The Voynich Guild might be guarding the truth in secret, but not every faction hides in the shadows.
True.
Some wear their identity proudly, machines clanking and ovens blazing.
Fucking clankers, bro.
Which brings us to the Clink-Clank Craftshop, a giant metal workshop on the edge of Nasha Town that smells like oil, steel, and fresh Clink-Clankes. It was founded by a prodigy named Aino, who originally just wanted to build the world's best Clink-Clake machine. Over time, her inventions turned the place into a hub of mechanical wonder. It's whimsical and cozy, a place where machines bake cookies, but...
with the hard R. I can't even say it like that. I'm British, bro. Clankers.
Sometimes misbehave, yet it sits right in the middle of Nodcry, one of the bleakest and most dangerous regions in Tevat. And the choice of Clink-Clakes is...
Oh, damn, bro. Looks like a fucking apple pie. Probably not,
random. In real life, they're traditional Christmas cookies, which makes the craft shop feel even more wintry and whimsical. Aino herself is an orphan, a street kid who sees her mechanical creations as family. Apparently, a lot of the robots we'll see in Nasha Town are her creations. She
Damn, she got a big family. Fucking hell, it's a lot of brothers and sisters, dude.
Also created a massive cannon to repel the abyss. She's proud, temperamental, and wants recognition for her work. If you praise her, the craft shop doors are open. If you don't, they slam shut in your face. In Norwegian Christmas folklore, there's a figure called the Julenisse, a small gnome-like version of Santa Claus.
It's dancing with a cat. That was
cute. He delivers gifts on Christmas Eve, but he's also mischievous. Treat him well with a bowl of porridge, and you'll be rewarded. Forget, and you might find yourself in trouble. And honestly, that reminds me a lot of Aino. She's a genius engineer, but unlike cold inventors like Sandrone or Dottore, Aino's creations have warmth, humor, and personality. In that way, she's somewhat of a literary foil to Sandrone.
Oh my god, bro, she's the Vettel of Genshin Impact.
Where Sandrone treats people horribly and builds tools of control, Aino builds quirky machines that feel
yeah, I don't see Aino going around cutting people's tongues out.
warm and alive. Which raises a question. How much of their creator lives on inside the machines?
True.
And that brings us to Inefa. Inefa's core comes from the 11th Dragon Lord.
Bro, get on the freaking Sandrone, man. I want to know what Min has to say about Sandrone.
An AI who split her essence in despair after being defeated during the first Pyro Archon's rise. Aino unknowingly gave this AI core a new body, so that means Inefa carries memories from when dragons ruled
recent information
Teyvat.
from the
She
quest.
remembers Nibelung, the Dragon King who created the three Moon Sisters, and she remembers the heavenly principles binding the Moon Sisters to its own will. She witnessed the Great War of Vengeance when Nibelung returned, corrupted by the Abyss, and she knows the truth of what happened when the two moons were shattered.
Yep.
This is huge because Inefa's weapon carries a secret. A massive warning the Fatui seem to be ignoring. And if that warning is true, then I don't think things...
Again, super important lore being held in fucking 5-star limited weapons that you can't even check the lore of unless you pull them is kind of crazy. I still really don't like that.
will end well for the Fatui. But we'll get to that soon.
Okay.
The craft shop is warm and full of wonder because Aino builds machines with personality and care. In that way, she's almost a literary foil to Sandrone, where Aino creates family, Sandrone might create fear. Just because Sandrone is cold and cruel doesn't necessarily mean her creations are the same. There's a real possibility that some of her automatons might be kind, or at least not as heartless as she is. And that brings us to one of the biggest Genshin questions. Did Sandrone create Catherine, the robotic receptionist of the Adventurers Guild? Let's talk about a faction we've known since day one, the Adventurers Guild.
Okay, well, I thought she'd say more about Sandrone and the robot. God damn it.
Feels familiar and safe.
Bro, I still think the fucking robot is the person in the suit, bro. I think, and then I think the fucking... I think Sandrone's a puppet.
They're at the desk, daily commissions, and that motto we've all heard 100 times.
Ad Astra Abyssos.
In the Song of the Welkin Moon web event, we get a tease that someone important from the guild's headquarters is waiting for us. That could mean we'll finally meet the original Catherine, the one all the others are based on. And since Catherine is an automaton seemingly made in the likeness of Sandrone, that immediately raises questions. The Fatui may fund the Adventurers Guild, and Sandrone might even be involved in Catherine's creation.
I think it's very obvious at this point that Sandrone is involved in Catherine's creation, especially seeing it behind the counter in Nodcry, right? I think that makes the most sense. Which is hilarious, because that would mean we have technically been working for the Fatui and everything we have been doing since the very beginning of the game, since Mondstadt. That would be so fucking hilarious, dude.
But if that's true, why does the guild treat the Fatui as enemies in commissions? The guild's headquarters is based in Snezhnaya, but it doesn't seem to act loyal to the Fatui at all, which means it might actually be run by a neutral group, or even by people trying to push back against Snezhnaya's control from the inside. Or it's a cover-up, and the Fatui and the Adventurers Guild are secretly working together. Regardless, when we
I could see that, to be fair.
get to Nodcry, it's likely we'll be meeting the OG Catherine, or the head of the Adventurers Guild. That's assuming the head of the Adventurers Guild isn't actually Sandrone herself. The Adventurers Guild might be hiding secrets behind a friendly face all these years, but not every faction in Nodcry has that luxury. Some, like the Lightkeepers, have carried their purpose openly for centuries. The Lightkeepers are an ancient organization that has defended Nodcry's freedom for centuries, fighting back the Abyss and the terrifying Wild Hunt. But after so many battles, they're now severely weakened, and no one knows if the current generation of warriors can still uphold that mission.
I think they could. I don't know, bro. I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the most important lore stuff is going to come first and foremost. And like the Lightkeeper stuff against the Abyss or the Wild Hunt, I feel like that's going to be kind of an afterthought for the most part during this whole quest line that we're going to have. It's probably going to take precedent in 6.0, but I think it'll get resolved by 6.0's finale. And then 6.1 will be about something else, 6.2 about something else. Then we'll move on to the previous other nations to wrap up loose ends.
Their origins go all the way back to the Torchforger, the legendary figure who fought the Abyss during the Cataclysm. With the help of a priestess of the Frostmoon Scions, he raised the first great beam of light against the Abyss. Survivors built a lighthouse on the mountains as a symbol of hope and as a deterrent for the Abyss. The Torchforger made a deal with the Tsaritsa herself. If the Lightkeepers protected the southern border and fought back the Abyss, Nodcry would remain a free nation. That oath became their legacy. For centuries, the Lightkeepers believed that as long as the lighthouse stayed lit, their land would never fall. But then came the Fatui.
Damn, that whole theory about the chest stuff does actually make sense, huh? Imagine it, guys. I need you all to imagine this. So, again, Celestia's been up in the sky for God knows how long, which controls the Archons, which controls the Vision Wielders. And at the end of the day, if Colombina does become the new moon, then she would be the ruler of Nodcry, which could be the starting point for the Fatui to then gain control over different elements and different places, because they could wield the power of the moon, right? And then grant people moon wheels instead of visions. So if you think about it in that way, it could literally be that Piero is representing Celestia here. Or honestly, I guess the Tsaritsa would technically be representing Celestia here, right? And then the Gnosis pieces are probably representing the Archons, and the pawns representing the people who follow the Archons and protect the Archons. And then if you look at the vice versa side, it'd look the identical way on the opposite side of the board, which would be the moon or Colombina being the person playing, representing that. And then the Gnosis pieces or whatever, again, being the moon wheel users, or at least the delusion users, the harbingers. And then the pawns being the people that follow them again or work for them. Could be quite interesting. I think that would make a lot of sense, right? I don't know, man.
That as long as the lighthouse stayed lit, their land would never fall. But then came the Fatui. They returned to Nodcry, declaring they would revoke the sacred powers bestowed by the Tsaritsa, a polite way of saying they wanted to break the deal and take back control of Nodcry. The Lightkeepers remind me of Enkonomiya. Back there, the Dainichi Mikoshi acted as an artificial sun, keeping back the Vaishaps. We even had to perform a ritual in the Three Realms Gateway offering to keep its light alive. And throughout Enkonomiya, statues of torchbearers stood as silent guardians against the Abyss. Which makes me think this use of light, or in this case moonlight, as a weapon isn't unique. It could be
the chest has 16 pieces on each side, meaning we might need to count more than the 7 Archons. Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is the Gnosis, right? The Gnosis being the Archons, not all of the chess pieces.
Tradition, a practice humanity has used across Teyvat for as long as the Abyss has existed. It could explain why the Heavenly Principles chose to control the Moon Sisters instead of destroying them. Their power may be a natural defense against the Abyss. One of the Lightkeepers we know by name is Flins. Kiru Chudomirovic Flins. Chudomirovic means...
Yeah, I'm just calling Flins.
Son of Chudomir, with Chudomir rooted in Bulgarian for miracle or wonder of peace.
Nice.
The epithet Arnivalkea is Finnish, meaning midsummer fire or will-o'-the-wisp, a guiding flame in the dark.
Ooh,
His
I like
surname
that.
Flins is tied to a Slavic death deity mentioned in medieval chronicles. Put together, Flins comes across as a descendant of a long line of Lightkeepers, maybe even of the Torchforger himself. His name, along with the grave that's seen with him, suggests that his own father may have been one too. Iluga is a newly appointed Lightkeeper who was quoted in Flynn's introduction.
Okay.
The Lightkeepers each carry a lantern with a moonlit flame that not only warns them of the Abyss's presence, but can also drive it back. These lanterns even let them hear the voices of souls that the Wild Hunt appears to have claimed. The Lightkeepers didn't stand alone. They fought alongside the Frostmoon Scions. The Frostmoon Scions are one of the most mysterious factions in Nodcry. They're devoted to the Moon Goddess, a deity they've never actually seen but still pray to every night under the full moon, even after centuries of silence.
In all fairness, and again, a lot of people kind of drive this point home, and it's like, yeah, they've never even seen the god that they worship. I mean, in the real world, that's everybody, bro. That's fucking everyone.
Believed are the descendants of the Moon Children, a civilization that once lived in the lost land of Hyperborea. After abandoning it, they settled in Nodcry, and their descendants became the Scions we know today. Their home is on Hisi Island, a place full of moon statues and ruins that look suspiciously like Enkonomiya. That might not be a coincidence.
100% it's not a coincidence.
Hyperborea and Enconomia could both be remnants of a single ancient civilization, one that existed during the age of the Heavenly Principles and the Four Shades. According to Helka and Malika, the Scions aren't like anyone else in Nodcry. Their powers predate the 7 elements. Helka even calls it magic, suggesting it comes directly from the Frostmoon,
Jesus Christ, Llama.
one of the 3 Moon Sisters.
Man, when you're saying important stuff next time, could you put a different character on screen that is not this one?
Their symbol is a deer with a crescent moon on its forehead and antlers covered in leaves. That imagery ties back to Finnic mythology, where Hisi meant sacred places and spirit beings later turned into giants or tricksters, often linked to animals like elk and reindeer. It also echoes Roman mythology, where the moon goddess Diana was closely tied to the deer, sometimes appearing as a triple goddess of the hunt, the moon, and the underworld. The Frostmoon Scions also appear more advanced than they let on. Helka hints that some of the relics on Hisi Island resemble ancient secret source technology, but they're dormant for now. One figure we know from this group is Llama, the Moon Chant envoy, the current priestess of the Frostmoon Scions. She's described as a guardian who ensures no innocents or animals are harmed, though if chaos breaks out, she'll act to protect the land. Her name comes from Baltic mythology, where Laumis were fairy-like spirits tied to nature, orphans, and even shape-shifting, sometimes appearing with animal traits.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that with her as well, right? With the shape-shifting or at least like animorphing.
Her design even echoes those myths, down to the big personalities
God damn!
associated with Laumis and folklore. Each of the Moonchant envoys has had access to an ancient relic that lets them see the true past. Llama is still working to piece together the scattered history of the Frostmoon Scions and the moons themselves. When the moons shattered, many of their fragments fell across Nodcry. These are known as the ancient moons.
God, they look so fucking sick, bro. I'm sorry, I gotta go back to this. Look at that. I love this kind of aesthetic, dude. It reminds me of the nails a lot, but I guess more natural.
Known as the ancient moon's remnants. However,
oh, you know what?
Fragments fell across Nodcry. These are...
Is this what was shown when it said the moon fragments? I guess it would make sense, right? This is the same pillar that we see on Hisi Island. Ah, interesting. Okay.
Are known as the ancient moon's remnants. However, as we'll see in the upcoming Archon quest, the Frostmoon Scions relic has been stolen.
Yeah, look at it. It's fucking this. So that must be... Well, it's not where it is, because it's a very different layout, of course, but... Interesting.
Presumably by the Fatui, who seem determined to twist its power. The Scions' bond with the moon goddess may even connect to Colombina, and that's already
it will.
putting them at odds with the Fatui. But we'll get to that soon in this video. Another group with deep roots in Nodcry's history are the Snow...
Imagine if the Fatui were just playing a trick on her all along, and the reason she wears that thing on her eyes is because they were just like, you have to keep this on, okay? Don't look. It's still the Moon Sisters here. And they just tricked her like a child.
That's soon in this video. Another group with deep roots in Nodcry's history are the Snowland Fae. Their story starts in the finale of the Deep Galleries artifact set, back in the age when the Heavenly Principles ruled Teyvat completely. Beneath the golden city of Hyperborea lived the first angel, bound to Celestia by a crown that doubled as a shackle. The first angel fell in love with a mysterious youth, a voyager who revealed his consciousness had traveled across worlds. Their marriage was even witnessed by the 3 Moon Sisters.
Is that meant to be Dane?
Using forbidden knowledge, artisans of Hyperborea created new life, the Fae, beings built on the bones of giant beasts. These became the Snowland Fae.
God, they look so cool, dude.
But Celestia struck back within 30 days, casting down celestial nails, destroying the city and cursing the angels.
And there should still be one nail left.
Those who fell in love again became Seelies, doomed to wander.
No, I know the Voyager's not actually Dane, but the image that she used, I thought it was Dane's fucking PNG.
In sorrow. This might be one of the biggest clues that Colombina is actually an angel. The finale of the Deep Galleries artifact set explains the Seelie curse. If an angel gazed into someone's eyes and showed love meant only for them, instead of for all humanity, they'd be cursed to become Seelies. That's why Colombina's eyes are always closed.
You know what? That fucking makes sense. I'd never thought about
Seelie
that.
curse. If an angel gazed into someone's eyes and showed love meant only for them, instead of for all humanity, they'd be cursed to become Seelies. That's why Colombina's eyes are always closed.
She's going to take off that blindfold, look at the traveler, fall in love, and become part of the harem, and then become a sea.
If she opens them, she risks triggering the curse, becoming a Seelie herself. Somehow, the Snowland Fae survived the Seelie catastrophe. They later pledged loyalty to the first Cryo-Archon, the Belitsar, and became part of his court in the Northlands. They've since lost much of their glory, but the lore suggests they may still hold influence in modern-day Snezhnaya. The Fae were said to be made from bones of great beasts, which could mean dragons. We've already seen something similar in Fontaine with the Melusine, who were created from the remains of Elenus, an abyssal dragon. And remember, before the Heavenly Principles arrived, Teyvat belonged to the dragons. After their defeat, there would have been countless dragon corpses left behind, right?
Are we sure the Snowland Fae and the Fae of Hyperborea are the same? No, not 100%, I guess, but it is incredibly likely, based on what we know about Hyperborea as well.
So what did Hyperborea do? Maybe they recycled them into Fae. I mean, that's pretty resourceful, I guess.
True.
So the Fae might be part dragon. Their symbol seems to be a cryo-elf. Alice and Cleve both have pointed elf-like ears, suggesting they may be connected or a similar race. And if that's true, one very familiar face might secretly be a Snowland Fae, Pulcinella of the Fatui.
Wait, for real? Was he made using like the few remaining bones or something? What do you mean?
Familiar face might secretly be a Snowland Fae, Pulcinella of the Fatui.
And they only have tail bones left?
And speaking of the Fatui, let's talk about them next. The Pale Star Edict, that highest of commands, has gone out. With it, the Fatui Harbingers have been summoned back to Snezhnaya and dispatched to Nodcry. Helka mentions the Fatui had been stockpiling huge amounts of construction material, and rumors say at least one Harbinger is already there.
Yep.
This looks like the next step in a long-term plan. If it ties into Project Stuzha, first mentioned in Arlecchino's story quest, then maybe we're doomed? In Russian, Stuzha means cold. Think of it as Genshin's version of winter is coming.
Oh my god, me and Viv are actually rewatching Game of Thrones right now, and I say rewatching, but I'm realizing the more I watch Game of Thrones, the less I paid attention towards the end, bro. We're on like season 5 or 6, and I don't remember jack shit happening. I know there was a point of Game of Thrones where I stopped watching because time, I was in school, and I think that was about season 4. And then I didn't watch again until the show was finished, but people were like, it's dog shit, don't finish it. So I just watched clips, like, here's what you need to know, basically, for the rest of the seasons. But I'm enjoying season 5 so far, bro. It looks pretty good. I think we're on season 5.
Stuzha could be their endgame. The plan Pierrot teased in A Winter Night's Lazo when he promised to tear down the current world order and rebuild it in the Fatui's image.
Yeah.
Dottore is reportedly researching ancient moon remnants, and his massive machine in Nodcry might not just be a fortress, it could be a replacement moon.
Hell yeah, it could. I think it will be, dude. I'm telling you, it looks like a fucking Death Star.
A literal mechanical moon.
Yeah.
But Anepha's weapon warns that trying to replicate or replace the moons has catastrophic consequences, which means if the Fatui go through with it, things could end very badly. The Pyro Dragon Sovereign had to stop the dragons from their exploration of the stars and their attempts to replicate the great miracle of moon forging.
Yo.
In other words, before the Great War of Vengeance, the dragons actually tried to forge a new moon, since the 3 Moon Sisters were already under the Heavenly Principle's control. But it didn't end well. The dragons ultimately lost both wars for control of Teyvat. There's even a local prophecy. Yet from the ashes of the fallen moon,
I want like a Genshin Impact What If. Y'all ever seen the What If series for like Marvel? I want to know what the fuck would happen if the dragons won.
moons, the new moon rises, its ascent spinning the wheel of fate anew. The Frostmoon Scions already worship Colombina as this new moon, building statues of her all over Nodcry. The Fatui, in turn, caged those statues either to harness her power or prove their dominance.
I think probably both, but more so to harness the power.
And remember, Colombina isn't just any Harbinger. She's the 3rd of the 11. And the top 3 are said to rival Archons themselves.
Well, the top one is, taking a bit of a nap right now. The number 2 is, well, there used to be more than 2 of him, and now there's only 1, I guess. Or maybe the new rank 1. And then Colombina, we've known about it for about 3 minutes, so I'm excited to learn more about Colombina though, deadass.
But here's the catch. According to Ineffa's memories, the Fatui have already brought a moon down once before. And it seems they definitely knew about Colombina's status as a new moon from the prophecy. She's a harbinger because she's the celestial body they need to control in order to build their vision of a new Tevat. The livestream may have revealed Colombina's real name, Gutar. Colombina...
Wait, what?
Or Damslet is her Fatui title.
Oh shit, true. And then the name of the moon powers was like Kutari or something, right?
In Finnish mythology, Gutar is the goddess of the moon. This ties perfectly with what we know. Colombina was born in Nodcry and worshipped by the Frostmoon Scions as their moon goddess long before she ever joined the Fatui. But now, for reasons still unknown, she's recently left the Fatui and is said to be hiding somewhere near Hisi Island. According to Lauma, the local prophecy foretold that the moon goddess would one day return. Colombina did return, but not in the way anyone expected. In the trailer, Colombina says she still wishes to return to the moon that belongs to her. That line opens up a lot of theories. After 2 of the moons were destroyed and the frost moon silenced, Colombina may have fulfilled the prophecy by becoming the new moon. The Frostmoon Scions worshipped her as such, but if the Fatui really did pull her moon down from the sky, she may have crashed into Tevat itself, only to later strike a deal with the Tsaritsa.
That'd be a weird one though. Surely, I don't think the Fatui would have pulled it straight down. I don't know. I'd have to see that. That seems like not necessarily a stretch, but a interesting proposal from the limited information that we have.
Nodcry will get to meet her in a place called the Silver Moon Hall. After completing tasks like singing with her or taking a stroll, she'll offer her gratitude by lending you powerful support in your journey.
How do you all feel about this? I've seen some mixed reactions to this whole thing.
Or to meet her in a place called the Silver Moon Hall. After completing tasks like singing with her or taking a stroll,
like you meet Colombina, the moon goddess who you thought was the 3rd strongest of the Fatui fucking harbingers, one of the most like bad organizations, bad people, and like the first thing we actually know about her, other than the whole moon stuff, is you get to go and sing with her and take a stroll and get rewards. I don't know, it's just interesting to me. Kind of takes away from the mystery for me. I mean, I think it's just a given that she's going to turn out to be quote-unquote good by the end of it, because they're doing that. They're intentionally trying to get us emotionally invested in her to ensure we pull on her banner. And this is the thing, though. I don't think they fucking need to. I think most people are already emotionally invested into Colombina as a character without knowing jack shit about her, because it's Colombina of the fucking Fatui Harbingers.
She'll offer her gratitude by lending you powerful support in your journey. And here's a thought. What if the Seelie we see following the Traveler in Nodcry is an extension of Colombina herself?
That'd be interesting, but I feel like it's Nicole.
It could be her power or even her consciousness shared with us once we resonate with her moon statue. Another possibility is that this unique Seelie is connected to Nicole Rain, the Hexenzirkel witch who, like Colombina, might also be an angel. The Fatui seem desperate to claim the authority of Kuvaki. They've even set up the Kuvaki Experimental Design Bureau, using the moon's power to forge...
Everyone described her as innocent at first, and she is exactly like that. What else were you expecting? A member of the Fatui Harbingers being innocent? Interesting. I feel like we've seen people describe her as definitely not just innocent, right? In like Wanderer's voice lines. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the exact words, but I'm pretty sure it was more along the lines of unhinged, unpredictable, plenty of other things erring on the more negative side than positive, right? Olakino described her as unexpected. Yeah, mysterious but scary. Yeah, Child said he doesn't want to fight her. I mean, Child's rank 11 to be fair. Unsettling, yeah. So I don't know. Innocent is like the last kind of vibes that I get from her, to be fair.
New weapons. And at some point, we're going to have to break into this fortress ourselves to uncover what they're really planning. Here's where things get complicated. Because in the Luna 1 teaser, it almost looks like the Traveler's sibling is working with the Fatui. But are they really on the same side? Either this is all an illusion, or there's something much bigger going on behind the scenes. On the surface, it might look like they're working together, but I don't think it's that simple. The Abyss Order, which his sibling leads, has one clear goal: to revive Conria and give it a new physical location. They're focused on preserving the past. The Fatui, on the other hand...
Yeah, I understand, guys. Don't get me wrong. I understand maybe she's not portrayed as the big bad, but listen, this is the fucking Fatui Harbingers. Like, the whole point of the Fatui Harbingers is that the player is supposed to view them as the bad guy, right? We got Dottore doing fucking child experiments. We had Capitano, who, until we actually learned about, we saw as a bad guy. We have all of the Fatui Harbingers, even fucking Tartaglia, for fuck's sake, who was about to drown a whole nation of Leoans. It's not the right word, but you know what I mean. And then they were fine. Yeah, they're great characters, but we're supposed to view this organization and the people in it as bad people until we learn more about them, right? That's kind of the whole point. I feel like that's the entire point. Like, when we start to learn more about them, we're like, oh, maybe they are just grey and they're not bad. But again, my point still stands. The Fatui Harbingers are not inherently bad. They are grey. They're on the same side as we are. They're just going more unconventional routes to get to the end goal, basically. That's what I've always said. That's what I will always believe. But I don't think people are in the wrong for thinking Colombina was gonna not be a character we would instantly be going on walks with and singing with, is what I'm saying. You know, does that make sense?
And wants something completely different. Their mission is to build a new Teyvat, one that follows their rules, their vision, their order. So how could these two groups possibly work together? The only way I see it making sense is if the sibling, and by extension the Abyss Order, struck a deal with the Tsaritsa. If Khaenri'ah is promised a place in the new world the Fatui are trying to create, that might explain this sudden alliance. The Fatui aren't the only force causing chaos in Nodcry. There's another contender for the title of main antagonist, the Wild Hunt.
Indeed.
The name Wild Hunt comes from Scandinavian myth, where ghostly riders led by Odin or Thor storm through the sky in winter, stealing souls and bringing disaster. And according to Helka, the Abyss's presence is growing fast. She even warns the northern paths aren't safe anymore. The Wild Hunt seems to possess the bodies of its victims, which is why we see some of their forces wearing the clothes of fallen Lightkeepers.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's kind of creepy, dude.
They also appear able to separate souls from bodies, given the spirits seen wandering across Nodcry. In some versions of the myth, the hunt isn't chasing anything. It's punishment, damning souls,
get the silver sword, man.
The lost into the dark, or marking those fated to die. The Abyss in Nodcry matches this perfectly. Their emblem even looks like an upside-down deathly statuette, an item already tied to Khaenri'ah and abyssal corruption. That's no coincidence. The statuette references Odin himself, who hung upside down from the world tree to gain forbidden wisdom. There's a painting and story called The Wild Hunt of Odin, where a joyful wedding descends into chaos as ghostly riders tear across the sky.
Do you all think we could learn about more about the inverted statue? The vibes that these give me is the inverted statue vibes. It's similar colors, it's similar fucked upness with the chains and stuff. I don't know. I just get vibes, bro. I'm going purely based off vibes here.
Sound familiar? It mirrors Genshin's own tragedies, specifically the Seelie wedding cursed by the heavenly principles, the same story mentioned in the finale of the Deep Galleries and the records of Jueyun. And then there's the leader of the Wild Hunt. Who could it be? I'd like to think Khaenri'ah's 5 sinners are involved. During the Song of the Welkin Moon teaser, Alice holds a cryptic note in her hand. On it are 3 names: Aralos, Solnari, and Canon. One name stands out: Rerir of Solnari.
It makes me think of fucking Scooby-Doo, bro.
The Avenger of the Moon, or Moon Hunter. If the Wild Hunt is hunting the last lunar societies, Rerir fits too perfectly. Another candidate is Roptatyr the Wise, one of the names for Odin himself. An ancient sage corrupted by the Abyss, commanding the hunt from the shadows. And maybe, just maybe, Roptatyr is the same mad monk who once tried to push the Belitsar to harness the Moon Sister's power during the cataclysm.
Oh shit. Fuck.
Sinners in Teyvat don't usually get happy endings, and that might be true for the founder of the Treasure Hoarders.
I didn't even think about that.
Most people see them as a messy gang of small-time criminals, but their roots run deeper. The group actually began in Nodcry, founded by Reed Miller, a legendary thief who dreamed of a world without boundaries. A childhood friend of the Torch Forger, the founder of the Lightkeepers. But Reed's story didn't end in triumph. He started out dreaming under the moonlight with a Torch Forger and ended up executed as an infamous bandit, a revolutionary turned outlaw. But maybe his legacy didn't die there. Kaya has said his grandfather was a pirate who passed down his eye patch as proof. He also claimed his grandfather found a divine sword, one drop from Celestia itself, powerful enough to summon storms and kill sea monsters.
I don't trust a fucking thing Kaya says, dude.
But it was too dangerous, and too many people were desperate to claim it for themselves. So, it was hidden away. That treasure was said to rest in the Lost Arcadian Ruins, the same questline that mentions Hyperborea, the fallen golden city of the Frostmoon Scions and the Snowland Fae. Alice even teases Kaya about his bloodline and treasure hunting past during the Golden Apple Archipelago.
Wait, my letter was similarly straightforward. Among the deserted islands you will find a sunken pirate ship. Within lies great treasure and long-lost antique vases of incredible rarity. It would appear that someone came to learn of the circumstances surrounding the eye patch that my grandfather left me.
Event.
Oh, interesting.
When you connect that with his Conrian heritage, you start to wonder, was Reed Miller Kaya's grandfather? Or at least part of Kaya's bloodline? Maybe even a Conrian exile himself? And here's a wild theory. What if Reed Miller's great treasure is actually the Traveler's original sword? The one we lost in Genshin's very first cutscene. Apparently, one of the clues to finding this great treasure is hidden inside the Fatui fortress, and plenty of factions are already hunting for it. If this sword really could summon storms, slay sea monsters, and was so powerful it had to be hidden away, it lines up perfectly. It could be the Traveler's lost weapon, and
I don't think it will be, simply for the fact that, again, if this is tying up loose ends, I don't think we get the sword before Snezhnaya, right? I doubt it. Maybe after Snezhnaya? Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe even the same legendary blade Kaya once said his grandfather carried. It would mean Kaya isn't just a spy from Conria, he could also be the heir to Reed Miller's dream, a world without—
No way they'll buff Traveler, so it's not. Hey, listen, motherfucker, you gotta give credit where credit's due. They actually buffed Traveler during Skirk's patch. I mean, yeah, it was by like 3 attack points or something, but hey, that's not the fucking point.
Just a spy from Conria, he could also be the heir to Reed Miller's dream, a world without boundaries. And maybe he's planning to carry that dream forward through the treasure hoarders. Vile, an NPC in Mondstadt, suggests Kaya keeps dossiers on treasure hoarders and tracks their movements.
Okay.
Sounds less like a bystander and more like someone with influence in the faction.
True.
Just like D-Luke is involved in his own underground network, Kaya might have one too.
Dude, I hope we fucking learn about Diluc's underground network in Nodcry, man. I really do, because there's so many theories going around about who it could possibly be, whether it's the Hexenzirkel, whether it is the treasure hoarders, whether it's the Abyss even. There's just so many different, like, fucking imaginary plot lines going off with Diluc shit.
And imagine this. In Nodcry, we don't just meet playable characters of the treasure hoarders, we meet Kaya as a 5-star. Or someone directly tied to his family's legacy. Because of what's waiting in Nodcry, we're definitely going to need some big, strong hands to keep us safe. Next up, the Knights of Favonius.
I'm telling Dane.
And I think we all know who's finally showing up. Varka. Varka is the Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius. Years ago, he led an expedition that took nearly 80% of the Knights' manpower, leaving Jean as the acting Grandmaster.
Yep.
He's so powerful that even Child calls him the Titan of the Knights and hopes to one day fight him. But Varka isn't just a warrior. He's been a father figure to half of Mondstadt. He brought Rosaria into the Knights, gave Eula a chance when no one else would, and even raised Razor, giving him his name and training him in combat. He's everyone's daddy. He's out here—
I fucking knew it was coming, man. God, I knew it.
Adopting everyone. Comment down below if you want Varka to adopt you too. On his travels, he's crossed paths with Capitano and even stopped by Natlan, where he got drunk in a drinking contest with the Pyro Archon Mawika.
But if we don't get a minigame where we gotta try outdrink Varka, I don't want to play Nodcry.
And lost. He's gathered a lot of new information on his journey, and now his focus is on Nodcry. A possible plot point is that the Knights will eventually work with the Lightkeepers to hold the line against the Wild Hunt and defend the Lighthouse, a literal beacon against the Abyss. If that light is beginning to fade, the Knights may be helping restore its power, possibly with aid from the Frostmoon Scions. So not only is Varka finally stepping out of the shadows, but he's walking straight into one of the biggest battles Nodcry has ever seen.
Yeah.
And all of it might be for Mondstadt's sake. It's no secret Teyvat is heading toward another massive war, one that will drag in every nation we visited.
Dragon!
Alice has hinted that the borders of Teyvat are weakening, and even A and Yaimiko casually talk about war in the middle of a karaoke party. Varka could be in Nodcry to learn how to harness the
karaoke party?
Moon's power to protect Mondstadt. After all, Mondstadt literally means Moon City.
Yeah,
and who can we expect to watch the plot from afar, teacup in hand? The Hexenzirkel. The
Here we go.
Hexenzirkel is a secretive coven of powerful witches, some strong enough to rival the gods. They meet for tea parties, explore Irminsul, and even record their stories in The Little Witch and the Undying Fire, a 7-volume collection scattered across the Imaginarium Theater. Here's who we know. Alice, Klee's chaotic mom and founder of the coven, calls Tevat's borders fragile, maybe hinting at Nodcry. After all, Nodcry is located at the edge of Tevat. Her frenemy Barbeloth, Mona's master, is a powerful visionary and can read the fortunes of the entire world. Ai Ivanovna N, the first mayor of Snezhnaya, had no magic but earned the witch's respect. She left the coven after marrying a mortal. Ender's daughter, author of The Boar Princess, taught Alice grief and foreshadowed Durin's possible revival through her Simulanka stories.
True.
Then there's Nicole Rain, the witch who speaks directly into minds. She's appeared in multiple Archon quests and has even been...
Still, I understand it's a pretty hot take, bro. Best character in the whole trailer. Character I am looking forward to the most out of the entire trailer, which is weird, bro. I never thought I would. Never thought it'd be Nicole. She doesn't even look like anything crazy. She's just like, I don't know, ethereal, cute, pretty as fuck. Like, I don't know. I love this character design, dude.
Seen with wings and a halo in the Song of the Welkin Moon
The wings help.
teaser, hinting she might be an angel.
Which one is Albedo's mom? None of them.
Angel just like Colombina. Nicole
That
may
is
actually be
Reindotir.
mute. She once described herself as suffocated by her inability to speak, and Wolfie even mentions that one of Madame Mage's friends is mute, but communicates directly into people's minds. Octavia is a wanderer from a
Fun fact, she's a mute and her handwriting is terrible. I can write.
destroyed world
And the app.
who rarely attends their meetings. She's an outlander, an alien from a different planet.
Oh my
and
God.
of course, there's Rhine-Daughter, the Conrian sinner who created Durin and Albedo, and who also happened to merge with the Shade of Life. Like everything with the Hexenzirkel, we're left with more questions than answers, and that's exactly how they want it. But there's something about Nodcry that really bothers me. When I read the Long Night's Oath artifact set, there was one passage that honestly kept me up at night.
Okay.
It's kind of scary. The passage describes the Lightkeepers being slaughtered during the Cataclysm. Amidst the sludge-sullied tundra now soaked in the blood of heroes, a young warrior knelt among the bodies of his fallen comrades. And so, like his ancestors before him, he prayed to an old god that no one now called upon. Somewhere out there, as if in answer to his pleas, a long, dormant phantom stirred from slumber. That ghostly blue wildfire of which ancient legends spoke would burn brightly anew on fresh fields of battle.
Don't mention Dean
here's
Sleeve.
the
Don't
question.
mention Dean Sleeve. Don't mention
What
Dean
ancient
Sleeve.
god is about to wake up in
Yeah.
Nodcry? And that's Nodcry, a
That
land
is
born from
interesting.
light,
That is a
scarred by
lot of
betrayal,
info, dude.
and now at the center of
God, I hope it's Nibelung. That'd be so fucking
every
sick.
major power struggle in Tevat. And that's everything you need
Potential.
to know about Nodcry before Song of the Welkin Moon Luna 1 goes live.
Hell
if you
yeah,
enjoyed
man.
this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.
Good
I'm your Leafy Lord Keeper
video,
Minsleaf, and I read the
Minsleaf.
Genshin Impact lore so that you
Don't have to. Good video, man. Good video. That was very good. Honestly, I forgot Nodcry was like 5 days away, dude. I gotta plan what we're doing then. It drops on the 10th, right? Which is Wednesday, which means I will probably take like, no cap, guys. I'm probably gonna take off like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Then probably gonna take 3 days off in a row to prepare for just a fuckload of Nodcry. Holy fuck, that's gonna be insane.